This is the second of the two videos where I show you how to make this jacket. In this video, I am going to cut the fabric and sew the jacket. Use the link on the screen to watch first video on how to make the pattern. This is the fabric I'm going to use today. First, need to fold the fabric in half and keep the right side inward. Align the selvage line. Now this is the selvage end and this is the middle edge. The middle of the pattern should be aligned with the middle line here in the fabric. And also when you are aligning these patterns, remember that you have to allow the seam allowance in some of these ones where we mark the arrows. Watch the video using the link on the screen if you like to know how to make these patterns. Now we can trace the pattern lines using a carbon paper onto the fabric. So carefully wheel along the pattern lines. I am going to do two parallel lines to indicate this is my back. Once you have done the whole line around, then remove the pattern and trace the lines to the other side as well. Now do the same with all the other pieces. Now I have traced all the pieces. As you can see, pattern lines are traced onto both sides of the fabric but wrong side. And I have put a mark to indicate which sides are the front and which sides are the back. I have marked the middle of the neckline and also the middle of the bottom hem. I also have marked the point where the buttonhole starts, that is from the front. And then also for the sleeve, I have marked the middle and also which side is the front. And this is the bottom middle. And also don't forget to mark the elbow point for both pieces. So now what we need to do is to sew these pieces together. So before sewing, pin your pieces together along the pattern line. Like this. So this is the back. So do that for all the edges. And then you can machine sew all the parts together. So now I have sewed all the pieces together. Now we need to iron the creases thoroughly. So all these lines we will iron before we go on further. Now we iron along these lines. You can put a small cuts like this to make the curve sit properly. Now pin the two shoulders together, front and the back, and sew using a sewing machine. So I connected the front and the back from the shoulders now, and then at the curve point I have make an incision. On both sides I done that, and then the sleeve I have connected two pieces from the front line. So that's my front. Like this. So again I am going to make an incision from the mark that I did for the elbow, just halfway through only, like that. And I'll do the same for the other sleeve as well. Small incision here. The reason we do that is, as you can see, there's slight curvature in here, and when we fold the arm the other way around, because of that incision, the curve comes nicely and hold the shape that way. Now I'm going to connect the other side as well. First pin along the two lines, pattern lines, and then sew using the machine. Then I want to run a loose stitch around the armhole of my sleeve. So I have done the sleeves now. I ironed them as well. So now we can connect the sleeve onto the jacket. First, what we need to find is which sleeve goes in which side. So I turn the jacket wrong side up. And keep the sleeve right side up. So this is the front of the sleeve and this is the front of the jacket. We have to make sure the sleeve side, the right side of the fabric is up, and then in the jacket this is the wrong side of the fabric. I'm going to put the sleeve in, and then I need to find the marking, the bottom line from the sleeve, and align that to the bottom of the armhole of the jacket. So here's the marking. So I made a line earlier, so I'm going to align that to the bottom of the armhole from the jacket. And then the other one, so I'm going to align this in 4 places. So the other point would be the top of the sleeve to the shoulder line. Align that as well and pin that in from the jacket side. like that, and then the two lines. This is my princess line from the jacket, and then this is the sewing line from the sleeve. So I'm going to try and align that together like that. Do the same from the other side. So if you took the measurements correctly, so it should come nicely this way, like that. And then I can use that loose stitch to add few like that, few pleats. We want to distribute it, we don't want it to show that much, but it will help us to nicely align the sleeve to this armhole. So now we are ready to stitch using the sewing machine the sleeve to the jacket. First I'm going to remove this part of my machine so it's easy for me to feed into the machine this tight space. So now if you look from this end, there you have it. And you can see that the two lines are nicely aligned. Now I am going to iron the garment thoroughly. I'm also going to iron the hem. So remember we left 1 inch seam allowance, so I'm going to iron that in as well. So when we are doing the front, we have to make sure the length is the same from two sides. From the shoulder, just align the two sides before you do the ironing here. Now we have to make the lining for the jacket, so we will use the same patterns, so no change to our sleeve, and as well as the front, we can use them as they are, but I want to make a slight change to the back because I'm going to use two material for my lining, and I need to make a shape like this for the back. because I'm going to use one material for the top bit and another for the bottom bit. I'm going to use a different color this time and mark out the shape I want. And then I can cut that one. So this would be one piece. To make it a two-piece thing, I'm just going to combine this so I can easily cut this one in one piece. These are the two fabrics I'm going to use for the lining. This one will go for the front lining, this piece, and also for the back. So one thing to remember is not to leave seam allowance at the end here. You don't have to leave the seam allowance at the bottom of the sleeve or at the wrist. So I have cut all the pieces now and also traced the pattern markings. Now I just need to connect all the pieces together and sew. So I have finished sewing my lining piece as well. Before I iron it, I am going to make some incision to get the curved lines nicely done. So this one as well. Few goes here. And a few more notches on the princess line, front and the back. So now I think I'm ready to iron. I think now we are ready to connect the two pieces together. So this is my top jacket. So this is the right one and this is my lining. So I need to align my two pieces along the marks that I made. So find the middle line and start from here, but we want to do it this way. First I'm going to pin it and then we can sew it using the machine. And when we come to this end, first we want to sew this like this, and then after that we can sew it this way, like this. So now I have sewn around the neck and also the front opening, and when you come to the end of the opening at the bottom, so I have stopped sewing like few like a half an inch is left. Now I want to sew it to the side like this, just about 2 inches this way. And then once it's done, I can turn it around this like this and finish my straight line. And then I will get a nice edge when I turn it around. So now I have sewn it like this. Before I turn it around, I am going to make a small notch like that. This is the other side. So I am going to now turn this good side around. And there you have it. So this is what we are after. So when you iron this in from the back, so this is my front opening, right? This is how the end would look like. Few notches at the points where it bends or curve would be sufficient. And when it comes to the neckline, that's where we need some closer cuts. So now we have connected the collar from here, the lining and the jacket, all the way down to the hem. But now before we go on, I want to connect the two ends of the sleeve. So in order to do that, let's turn this inside out. And I want to just get my lining and the jacket side by side like this. So this is my shoulder line here. This is the jacket and this is the lining. So then I take the two sleeves ends like this. Take the sleeve end of the lining and the sleeve end of the jacket and bring that together, and what we want to do is to connect the right sides, right side of the lining and right side of the jacket like this. Align and pin together. So do this all the way through. So I have connected that through pin, so now I can sew along this line, and I'll do the same on the other side as well. Now as you can see, I have connected the two sleeves edges. So what I do now is to turn the good side up and feed the sleeve out. It's come out nicely now. So later when we iron this, it will sit nicely like that. So these are my shoulder pads. I should have done this actually before sewing in the pieces together, but that's okay. We can still do that fairly easily. So I am going to attach the shoulder pad to the lining. So find the shoulder. So here's the shoulder of the lining. So I'm going to attach the shoulder pad along this line. So we are coming out just a little bit, half an inch out from the armhole line. I'll hand stitch that. I have stitched this onto the lining now, and I have done it in two places, along the armhole and also to the shoulder like this. And I want to do another tagging that is to the jacket itself, so just in one place. So I just need to find the shoulder top and align that, and then I will put another tag there. Both shoulder pads are connected now. The only thing left now is to finish off the hem. But before I do that, I will iron these edges properly first. So the jacket is almost finished now. The only thing left to do is the hem. I'm going to sew the hem using the machine up until like middle here from both ends. So this is the only bit that's left to do. I can hand stitch that one and then we are pretty much done.
Watch the link on the screen to see how I do the button for the jacket. Please subscribe and turn on the notifications to watch more videos like this. See you next time. Bye for now.